When we feel stuck, it can be hard to picture what's possible in the new year, but sometimes a small change, like refreshing your dinner routine, can make a big difference in your day-to-day. Cook Unity makes it easy to reset your meal habits with a variety of vibrant, healthy meals crafted by award-winning chefs. The chefs you see on TV and in five-star kitchens are the chefs who craft each small batch meal, and they're delivered directly to your door, ready to enjoy. There's no cooking required, and it's way healthier and cheaper than other delivery options. Experience the convenience of dishes made from local, in-season ingredients delivered straight to your door. It's an effortless way to savor high-quality, chef-prepared meals while feeling good about what you eat. Take a step toward a fresh start with Cook Unity, chef-crafted meals designed with you in mind. Go to cookunity.com/podcast or enter code podcast before checkout to get 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week at cookunity.com/podcast.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/audio.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting by emailing me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, be sure and check out our Patreon. You can support our show by going to Opperman Report Patreon. We put up about a good 6 or 7 hours of brand new content each week up on Patreon, ad-free. All the stuff you hear on AM/FM radio Monday to Friday, you can hear on Patreon ad-free. Our archives are always free. Go to Spreaker.com. There's a chat room. You get an email notification when we put up new content, and I do a solo show every Friday night. And if you go to Spreaker.com, you could find the first part of our interview that we did with Billy Prophet. This is brother William Halbert. You could find him on Facebook at Friends of Brother Bill, and you can email him directly at PanamaPrisonMinistries@gmail.com. Now, William Halbert is sitting in prison right now. He's a former hitman, an American citizen, former hitman. He's down there in Panama. He's had a rough life down there. He's staying at La Nueva Joya prison in Panama. He's changed his life. He's a new man. He's had a rebirth experience. He's a minister of the gospel right now down there in this prison. And we have him on the phone. It's been a rough connection, but we have him back now. Billy Prophet, are you there?
I am, man. Thanks for having me on the show, Ed.
Thanks for coming.
I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, remind the audience who you are. Who is Billy Prophet? William Halbert.
My name is William Holbert. I grew up in western North Carolina in the United States. I was, and there's a really long story, that in the first part we talked about it, I was a hitman, a professional killer in Central America, all of Central America, Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, all these Central American nations here I was active between 2006 and 2010. I am serving a 46-year sentence for quintuple homicide inside the worst and most dangerous prison in the Western Hemisphere, possibly, but certainly in Central America. And that's saying a lot. I have 12 years of my sentence completed, and I am actually the prison chaplain in the prison where I am. I'm a Christian minister here as well as an inmate.
Hey, Billy, we didn't get into it last time, but I know you grew up a Southern Baptist. But how would you describe your denomination now? Do you believe like in the fruits of the spirits, the gifts of the Spirit, speaking in tongues? What is your denomination?
Well, I don't preach in any denomination. I mean, I still have those Baptist roots, and I really do believe that once saved, always saved. And if a person isn't acting like a person who has Jesus Christ. They never were saved. So that's kind of but I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I preach a non-denominational gospel that is based directly on the Scripture. You know, we take the Scripture literally. Speaking in tongues, not so much. But at the same time, I don't discount my Pentecostal brothers either. And if you love Jesus Christ, you can jive with me, man, because I'm not going to trifle with you about denominational doctrine. The point of the matter is, for me, is that you accept Jesus Christ and you begin to live for the King, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, especially in your situation, you can't quibble over doctrine in a situation, because you were describing in the last show, you were describing what it's like then, tuberculosis, and you're getting veterinary antibiotics to treat your fellow inmates and stuff like that, and you were talking about the gang violence going on in the prison. Now, off the air, you had told me that the prisoners actually have firearms. They have AK-47s.
Well, what happens is, and that's true, and the reason that it's true is because the drug trade in the prisons of the Republic of Panama basically dominate all the prisons. The organized street gangs that are now incarcerated, actually, I mean, they exist on the outside and they also exist on the inside. They actually control the prison system here. The way it works is that police officers, corrupt police, confiscate like a large quantity of cocaine, and then they'll keep a little bit back and bring that clandestinely to the gangs inside the prisons and distribute those kilograms of cocaine. The gangs sell the drugs on the inside for the money. It doesn't cost the cops anything, and then they get a huge amount of money back on the return on an investment that didn't cost anything. The problem is, in order to maintain supremacy, the cops, when they also confiscate, let's say they pick up a drug boat going to the United States and it has 500 kilograms, and they hold back 25 or 50 kilograms of cocaine, they hide that, and then they bring it here to the prison system. I'm in the La Jolla complex, which has 12,000 prisoners. Think about that for a moment. 12,000 prisoners. We're at way more than double capacity. So it's basically, honestly, it's like a concentration camp style. There's no death camp here. Don't get me wrong. It's not. They're not killing people here like in gas chambers, but it is a concentration camp or prisoner of war style situation on the inside of most places, not where I am, but on the inside of most places in this complex. There's not one single cop. You'll have a cell block with 300 men, and no cells are locked, and there's not a cop anywhere, or not a guard or a cop anywhere, and the cops just stand on the outside of the perimeter. If you cross the perimeter, they kill you. But apart from that, whatever goes on inside, it's not their problem. Here also, the murder rate here is insane. Somebody dies every day. Somebody's murdered by the prisoner-on-prisoner violence every day. There really isn't a whole lot of authority violence against prisoners here. Now, I'm in a place called Sector C, and we were talking last time, and I was leading up to why I'm in Sector C, and we were talking about how the conditions in the prison, the new prison that they had built where I was, which I'm not there anymore, in a place called Chiriquí, were so deteriorated. It was a brand new facility, but there was no water, and there is still no real water solution. People are throwing human excrement out the windows. The prisoners are having to recover their own human excrement without any kind of hazmat equipment or anything like that. The supervisor of maintenance is pulling his hair out because he's trying to force kids to go and clean up that terrible mess, and there's in flip-flop shorts and without even gloves on. So we did a hunger strike. Several other things occurred, and at the end of the day, because of those things, in an interview that I did in the British tabloid, talking about what had happened. The government became very angry with me for showing the truth about what was going on in the prison. In this time of my life, I was not living 100% as a Christian. I was living as a Christian. I had a great veneer. But on the inside of my own soul, and I did help a lot of people, but on the inside of my own soul, there was still a blot. I was still in love with my own sin, in love with money, in love with... we're talking about 2018, at the end of 2018. One day in 2019, a judge gave me an order saying I could not be transferred. The government wanted to transfer me to where I am now. It's called Sector C. Sector C is a horrifying place, everybody is horrified of it. And the order came down, I was to be transferred there, and I had my lawyer pull an order from a judge saying, no, he didn't do anything wrong. He has no behavioral demerits. How can you transfer somebody to a punishment sector if they've not been punished? You have to punish him. What did he do? He didn't do anything. He can't be put transferred. So I was happy with that. And then a few months later, at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 face mask SWAT team style police officers came to my cell, all carrying M16s, which guns are not even allowed to be inside of a prison, by the way, carrying M16s and drug me out in my underwear, slapped me on a bus, and brought me 500 kilometers, which is about 350 miles, to this place where I am living now and have been living since the 22nd of October, 2019. Now, Sector C. What is Sector C? There's 160 men.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/audio.
In Sector C, it was designed to be a punishment block, a block for people who couldn't get along with others, but that's not the way it's used. In 2016, a president named Juan Carlos Varela changed Sector C and made it a soft torture facility. Now, what do I mean by a soft torture facility? Well, when you get a transfer to Sector C, they call that the Panamanian death sentence, and that's very, very, very accurate. And the way that they kill you is not through violence. They can do it several ways. They can kill you several ways. They can put you into one of these patios. The patio has anywhere between 20 and 30 people. It's a small cell block. They can put you into a cell block with people who are your rivals, knowing that the rivals are going to kill you. That happened to me, and I'll tell that story in a moment. Or they'll just put enough pressure on you. Just the actual living here is so difficult. You're in solitary confinement. You're allowed out 1 hour a day. There's no doctor. You're not allowed medicine. You're not allowed good food. You're not allowed to buy things in the store. And they can put enough pressure on you that way until your health fails and you die, or that you kill yourself. And that happens really frequently here. The suicide rate here is about 3%. And if you think about that, that's an insane number. 3% of the people that come in here kill themselves within, let's say, 3 years. That's insane. I mean, there's no prison in the world that has a suicide rate that's over one-tenth of 1%. We're at 3% here. So I got sent here. And from this place, my life was broken completely. I was married to a beautiful young woman who couldn't handle the fact that she couldn't see me anymore and couldn't speak to me anymore. And the communication here, I probably shouldn't tell this, but I'll tell it anyway because it's the truth. Communication here works like this. There's no phones. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to call anybody, even though you have legal rights. The legal rights are that you're allowed 1 hour of phone calls every day in the Republic of Panama to people on the outside. Here they give you none, and the way they get away with that is they just came through and cut all the handsets off of the payphones. The payphones are all here without not a single handset. They come and they cut all the handsets off and took them away. And so nobody's able to make any phone calls out. But the cops take advantage of that because the police will buy a cell phone on the outside that costs $130, bring it in on the inside and sell it for $3,000. Yes, that's right, $3,000, the police. And so that is one way that they make money. And then another way that they make money is that they'll search you and take away your phone that they sold you yesterday and sell it to somebody else. That happens all the time. So you have to be really careful. You have to be really good about hiding it. That's one thing. And then the Sector C is such a difficult place that it breaks the person. You can't generate any money from inside here. I did, actually. I wrote a book, and that book is for sale. Actually, you can find that information on and at my Facebook page if you want to go there. It's Friends of Brother Bill. You can find that information in the stickies there, in the communication stuff there, and about where to pick it up on Amazon. It's called Long Live the King Wild Bill. It was about my first year in prison and the things that happened to me in my first year as an American in a third world Panamanian prison. Incredible story, actually. Anyway, so here in this prison, my life was broken. I lost my wife. I lost any economic support that I had, and literally was just living off of, the tiny bit of food that they send. Maybe they give you 1,000 calories of food a day. But anyway, and so you get 1 hour out. You get 1 hour out each week of the cell. And I'll tell this story because it's really humorous and it's interesting. There was a man here who was supposed to be the chaplain, but he was a drug addict, and he one day he would be recovered, and the next day he wouldn't be recovered. And I don't judge anybody for drug addiction because I've dealt with that drug addiction. Not myself, I'm not addicted, but I've dealt with other people who are. I know it's a really terrible thing, but he wasn't a very effective pastor or chaplain, as you might imagine. One day he's preaching the word, and the next day he's running lines of blow up his nose. So that wasn't a very good fellow. But anyway, so I one day I was in my cell, and it was almost my time to be outside, and I literally broke down. And I asked God, I said, why is this happening to me? I was the golden child. Even on the inside of the prison, I was doing good. Why is that? And he said, you're going to preach my word. And I said, you've lost your mind. I'm speaking to God. I said, you lost your mind. Who's going to listen to me? I'm a hitman. I was a murderer. I'm a politician. I'm the bad guy. Nobody's going to pay any attention. You're going to preach my word. And I said, no, but you're making a mistake. This is a mistake. I mean, literally, I like having a real wrestling contest on my knees, praying to God. And God said, tomorrow I want you to go. And the guy's name was Jerry. Yeti, they say Yeti, but his name was Jerry. And so he said, you're going to go to church with Siervo Jerry, Pastor Jerry. And I'm like, I ain't going to no church with Jerry. Jerry's like a freak, I'm not going to, you're going to go. So the next day, Jerry starts this thing, and I got up and I went to church. And I felt stupid. I felt like the stupidest man in the world. So I sat there and I listened to that for a little while. And Jerry's ramblings was, he was here for a little while, and he was over there for a little while, and I didn't get much out of it. So the next time, I said, Jerry, the next time you have a church service, which is like in 2 days, I want to sing, because I sing well. And so I said, I want to sing. And so he said, okay, cool, that's fine. So we start the church service, and he starts. He doesn't want me to sing. I sang anyway. I just interrupted him and sang anyway. And everybody was like, I sing really well. And so everybody stuck their heads out the door and like, that's Bill. That's Bill singing. I mean, I'm a really infamous man here in the Republic of Panama. I'm the killer of killers, So everybody stuck their head singing like Christian songs. And so then the next week I told Jerry, I said, I want to give a Bible verse and do like a 3-minute talk about the Bible verse. He said, yeah. And so the same thing happened. He didn't want me to, but I interrupted him. I did it anyway. So things are going well. We actually picked up a rapport, and I wasn't trying to I didn't want to be pastor of the church. It's something I wanted to do. We're in January of 2020 or maybe maybe Christmas time 2019 in that area. I didn't want to be pastor of the church. I didn't have any desire to do that at all. But I wanted to please God, and I would become afraid of God in a way because God had broken my life, and I knew it was my own fault. It was me. I mean, he didn't break my life. I broke it, but I was punished for playing both sides of the field. I know that happened. So, and I was aware of it. I was aware of what happened, and I didn't know what to do about it because my life was such a wreck. I have nothing imagined. I mean, I'm just stepped on. I'm in like a super maximum security torture facility. I don't even know what to do. So we picked up a rapport, and it was kind of nice, and so that went on for a little while, and people began to come to the church service. Not many, 8 or 10 people began to come to the church service. And then one day, Jerry got into a fight with a guy called Cop Killer, Mata Policia. That translates to cop killer. He was a kid who had killed, he was like 22 years old, great big kid, fat kid, but huge. I mean, he's even bigger than me. And they got into a fight over cocaine, and the fat kid kicked Preacher Jerry in the rear end. Now, I was in my cell, but my door was open. It was almost time for church. So Jerry comes running, the pastor of the church comes running into my cell, and he says, you got a knife? And I said, yeah, right there there's a knife right there, and it's a little bitty thing. He's like, no. And it was like a knife for peeling oranges, He's like, no, a shank, man. You got to. I'm like, no, why would I have one? We're in the church, Jerry. Why would I have a shank? He's like, I'm going to kill Cop Killer. I'm like, you're going to what? Like, I'm going to kill Cop Killer. I mean, you're going to kill somebody? You're the pastor of the church, you idiot. You can't kill people. And he said, well, he kicked me. He kicked me in the rear. He said, I'm not using the words that he used here on AM and FM radio. But he says he kicked. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to, that's just, part of this, you got to take it, man. And I'm like, why did he kick you? And then he's like, he didn't want to say. And I'm like, I got you. I'm like, well, just let it go, just let it go. And he's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. People don't listen to me. You're the pastor of the church. And I said, I am not the pastor of the church, Gary. You're the pastor of the church. Just be cool. And I said, just wait. And so the church service went without nobody preached. I went and sang, and nobody preached, and that was it. Nobody even came to the service because everybody thought there's going to be somebody get killed, so nobody came. So I sang alone, and everybody can hear from inside their cells. They're all inside their cells, and they can hear. So excuse me. So the following Monday, church service, and I went to pick up Jerry. What you going to preach? I'm not preaching. I told you I'm not doing this anymore. So the judge, and I asked God, what do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to preach my word. I told you what to do. You're the pastor of the church. I'm like, I'm not. He's like, you know more about the Bible than anybody here. You spent your whole youth in the Bible, and you left me, but I never left you, and I've kept you alive for this. Now go and preach my word. So I went, and I preached, and everybody came to hear the killer of killers preaching the word of God, even the cops. And so that everybody's kind of taken aback, and that went, and the church began to grow. And so, when there was 8 or 10 people, now there are 25 people coming to hear, And it went on and it went on and it went on, and so I began to enjoy it. I mean, I ain't never in my life felt so free, man. I mean, I am in a literal, difficult place. I mean, the worst place underneath a volcano is where I live, and I have a peace that nobody else has had. So I've spent, in October it'll be 3 years. I've been in this place for 2 years, and I've had the church running now for over 2 years. The first time, when I took the church over, it was about the 3rd or 4th of February. I can't remember exactly which day, but it was the first week of February 2020. So for 2 years, and I put everything out of my life that's not compatible with Christ. I put it out. And my messages are very, very geared towards prisoners, very geared towards, the maleantes, the bad guys that are here, because I live with them and I understand them. And you got guys, and here's the thing: who are these kids? I say kids, right? I'm an old guy. I'm 42. I'm like, well, I'm the second to oldest guy here. There's a Mexican here who's 54, I think is how old he is. But I'm the next to oldest guy here. I'm a grandpa here, and the median age is about 23. And these are kids who were gangbangers their whole life, and it's easy to judge them, isn't it? But I wanted to talk about that for a moment. Who are these kids? Well, these kids are kids who, from the time they were 3 years old, they've been on their own. Their mother was a prostitute, who was a drug addict, most likely, or the girl of one of the girls of a gang member, And from the time that he's no longer in diapers, he's on his own. And he went to school, and they threw him out of school because he didn't behave himself, and he didn't get any. Maybe he can read, maybe he can't. He can read well enough to text, on the phone. And he has had absolutely no education. He had absolutely no access to any kind of religious activity, spiritual activity through, the church just wasn't there for him. And it's not his fault. It's not the church's fault either, by the way. And so this kid's not going to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer. That's not going to happen. He's a gangbanger. He grew up as a gangbanger. He was born into a gang. He grew up as a gangbanger, and that's what he is. But that doesn't mean that's what he has to continue to be. It doesn't mean that. And we've changed lives here. Like I said, we've got 25 red members here. They don't always come to the church, but we have 25 men who have accepted Jesus Christ in the last 2 years. Actually, in an incredible way, because I have such good communication that, we won't talk about that either, but I have such good communication here that I actually have led several other people on the outside who are free to Jesus Christ as well. And so, this impromptu and unlikely church that was built on the inside is quite effective. But it's not effective because I'm me. It's not me at all. It's Jesus Christ. I think that, like a lot of times we think, well, why am I not more effective? Well, look at your own life and see what's there that shouldn't be there. Get rid of it, and then you'll be more effective. And so that as a Christian.
Billy, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. Because you said that you did an interview in the tabloids, and it brought down a lot of heat from the prison administration. Now this show is heard. It's on when it's on the internet. It plays worldwide. We have a big audience in Ireland and England, all over. So what's going to happen when this comes out? They don't speak English, right?
I don't think anything. One of the things that's been wonderful since I've been out of criminality, since I've no longer, is that I've lost a lot of my prestige. When I was running the prison there, I maintained myself in the spotlight on purpose all the time, and I just couldn't get enough of it either. I couldn't get enough of being. I loved being the church leader. I loved being the gang leader too. And when you start living for Jesus and not living for yourself, I think that it's not probable that it will come out here. But if it does come out here, it's kind of difficult for them to punish me for saying I love Jesus and I'm the pastor of the church. And so that's one thing that the Panamanian culture does really respect servants of God. They really do. Anywhere you go in Panama, this is the thing. This is not true in the United States. This is not true in the UK. Anywhere you go in the Republic of Panama and you start talking about God, people would shut up, turn off the radio, even if they don't want to listen. To hold their head down, so they're very reverent, and so that's one thing that's good. And I think that what I really want to do with my life is what I'm doing now, but on a much bigger scale. I got to get out of this Sector C. We wanted to talk about what Sector C is and why. Let's take this moment and explain Sector C. Sector C was created by a president called Juan Carlos Varela. What happened was that there was a group of gang members on the outside who were drunk and made a video of them all holding guns and threatening the president's life and saying derogatory things about his wife. But it was kind of a joke in between them. It wasn't serious, and they were all drunk. That video went unwatched for months. Or it was, a joke in between them. They were free. These are men who were free in a street gang on the outside. The girlfriend of one of the gangsters, for whatever reason, got angry at the gangster and sent the video to the news media, and put it on Facebook or whatever. It exploded, and these, I think there were 16 of them. Los Yaos is what they were called, the gang, which means loosely translated the brothers-in-law. And Varela, the president, instead of laughing it off or, seeing that it was obviously something that was very old and wasn't serious, took it very seriously because he was that sort of guy, and sent the stormtroopers to round them all up, and they beat them on live television. They pushed their faces down in the mud and brought them, and Varela inaugurated Sector C with them, put them in here as a torture place. And then he found out that he could get away with it. He took the prison guards out and put in the police. This is the only place in the Panamanian prison system where there are actual police that guard you. And he suspended human rights inside, and that's not legal anywhere. That's not legal in Panama. It's not legal by any international treaty that Panama has signed. But what he also did was made a little under-the-table deal with the United States and the United Kingdom. And this is how the game works. This is why Sector C is popular in the international community, and why the international community will never move to stop this torture facility. Let's say that the FBI or the CIA wants to question a suspect. And they know that the suspect is not in Panama. They will wait until the suspect, but they know that he crosses through Panama. They'll wait until they know he's in Panama, call Interpol, and have a red notice put on him. Then the Panamanian authorities pick him up and bring him to Sector C while he waits extradition. Nobody that spends 6 months in this place, the most vile Pakistani jihadist, can't stand 6 months in this place. He'll rat on his own mother. And so that's how the Americans use it. And not only the Americans, I think that a lot of the European countries and the UN charter nations use Sector C like it, and then they say, well, it's not our fault. We're not holding them there. We're trying to bring them where to the United States where they'll have human rights. And that's true, but they use this facility in that way. Then the new president, you see, in Panama, everything's like a dictatorship, literally. Every 5 years, they change dictators. That's about it. I mean, there is a Congress called the Asamblea, but it's very weak compared to the executive office is extremely powerful. And so every 5 years, basically, it's just a change of dictatorship. And the new guy, he's not a bad guy, but he got caught up in COVID, and he inherited the presidency in the middle of COVID and not interested in dealing with anything in the prison in the prison system. And this torture facility just continues to run as it's kind of like an unsupervised system. I mean, there's nobody. I think there probably. I would be surprised if the prison even knows really what goes on in Sector C. And a lot of people don't on the outside, and the cops are very secretive about what they do here, and it's just a situation that the international community benefits from by having a coercion tool. But then you get a guy like me. I'm caught here. I can't get out. I've tried to get out. I can't get out of here. I don't know what to do to get out. I want to take my message from Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm thankful, Ed. I'm thankful, and your listeners, this is straight. I'm thankful that I got put into this place because I would have never. God put me here to break me so that I would come to Him, and I'm there.
Yeah, we actually covered that in the last show, and also too, and I had such a similar experience myself. I've told the story on the air. And when I was in Arizona, I was in the middle of a drug deal, a marijuana deal, and I prayed with this bellman. Took me in a car. He gave me a ride through the mountains there, and to take me back to my hotel. And when we stopped to say the sinner's prayer, I prayed. I says, God, I know He's right. I know I need Jesus Christ, but I don't want to give up my money, and I don't want to give up my crime. Yeah, that's exactly what I said, man. And what not even 30 days later, I'm sitting at maximum security. Bill, we've only got about 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left. So what's the plan, man? What can we do? It doesn't seem so bright.
Well, it's not. It's actually really dark, but I think it's, sometimes darkest right before the dawn. We're getting people together right now. I'm getting ready to do a letter campaign to the embassy. The American embassy, one of the reasons I'm in Sector C is because the American embassy wanted that. I killed American citizens, or at least 3. Now, they were all, criminals like me. That doesn't alleviate me with any guilt, but I just want you to understand they were hit contracts and all criminals like me. But the Americans, to the American embassy, I'm obviously an embarrassment. And so the embassy won't do anything to help me. And not only that, the police have told me, some of the cops that work in the office, I have a really good relationship with the cops here, actually, if you want the truth. It's not their fault that they're treating the prisoners this way. They receive their orders and they have to do what they're told. I mean, and that's really true. I get along. I mean, the cops come to hear our sermons, and my sermons in our church service. They come to our church service and stuff. So, I mean, I don't have any animosity towards the police. Some of the higher up brass are really difficult, but the cops have told me that the embassy is really happy that they're holding me here, and really, kind of hoping that I'll end up, expiring here. Which actually, in the last 3 weeks, I have some sort of a problem. I don't know what it is. I lost consciousness one day here, and when I was brought to, the boys were throwing water on me, like ice water on me to help me to wake up, and then another day when I was preaching, I didn't lose consciousness, but I was really, really busy and had to go sit down outside. Then I woke up one night. It was really scary. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and my left arm was numb, and this is like 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't breathe, and I thought it's a heart attack. It wasn't, thank God. It wasn't a heart attack. I think, anyway, so they took me to a doctor, actually, which is amazing. I can't even, first of all, it wasn't easy. The boys literally put everything in on strike. So everybody went on strike here. They closed the door and wired the door shut and started beating on the window so that they would take me to the doctor, because I was literally couldn't breathe, And so they took me to the doctor, and the doctor listened to my heart. He said, "You've not had a heart attack. I'd like to get you on an EKG, but that ain't going to happen. But probably from all the symptoms that you have extremely high cholesterol." And I found out by doing some research on my own that I drink have been drinking an enormous amount of coffee. And the kind of instant coffee that I drink has a molecule in it that causes that. Well, anyway, for whatever reason, I'm very ill right now. I'm not myself. And so I'm trying to get the embassy to do something about that, to return me back to general population. I mean, I don't have any behavioral demerits. I haven't, 3 years and a half here, and I've never had a behavioral demerit. I'm the pastor of the church. I've never tried to escape. They've not found a firearm on me. There's no reason for me to be here other than the fact that one, I embarrassed the Panamanian government by telling the truth, and two, the American embassy have been waiting for 9 years to get me in this position I am now, and now they're happy. So that's really the reality of my situation. So how can you help? Go to Friends of Brother Bill on Facebook, or you can email me at PanamaPrisonMinistries@gmail.com and get on our team of letter writers. We're going to try to get, we haven't done it yet, but like in the next week, we're going to try to get 50 or 100 people to write an email to the U.S. Embassy asking them to act on my behalf. Instead of acting against me, to act on my behalf, that I need medical care and I need to be in a facility that's more deemed, more geared towards the kind of prisoner that I am. So God willing that'll work, and maybe somebody listening would have a better idea, because I'm sure that my idea is not that great. I mean, anybody that's pretty versed in human rights law or international human rights associations or anything, anybody that want to help, man, I'm not asking anybody for cash, really not. I try to do my own thing and make my own money in a legal way. I'm selling books, and if you want to buy a copy of my book, that helps me. Every copy that I sell, I make some money off that. And so those are the ways you can help as well. But financially, I can't do anything with money where I am. Really, it's not very. It doesn't. If I have $300 a month, then at least I can eat. And that's it. I can't do anything with money. And so what I really need to do is get out of here. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you get a lawyer? And what a lawyer is in Panama is just a con artist. And that's just the long and short of it. And where I'm in the third world, and the legal system isn't what it is in it's not like even in Mexico. Mexico's light years ahead of where we are here. And so really lawyers are just there to rob you, and they don't do anything. And that's the truth. So I really need some international people. So that's what you can do to help.
Well, Billy, what about like Amnesty International? If these are human rights violations, don't they look into that kind of stuff?
You'd think, wouldn't you? I wrote Amnesty International. I've got the letters. I wrote them emails, and they basically told me, please don't bother us anymore. And I had my friend, who's my cousin, Amber, write from the United States to Amnesty International, and she called them and said that they're not interested in helping somebody with my history. So, and that's been, and I can understand that. I'm not in prison, man. I'm not in prison for being a nice guy. I'm in prison because I received money to kill people. I mean, that's a terrible thing to do, but I'm not that man anymore either. And I'm moving forward with my life in a positive way. And part of the reality of prison is supposed to be about re-socialization, rehabilitation. And I'm participating in all of those, in every form and facet. You couldn't be a better inmate, or you couldn't be more productive inmate either. I mean, the police trust me and use me for a lot of things. A lot of gang mediation. I do all the gang mediation. Anytime there's a new rule or law that comes down they want explained, I'm the one that goes around explaining it. When people come in that they don't know where to put because they're afraid people will kill them, they come and ask me where do we put them, and I ubicate them. I put them where they go. And so I mean, I'm doing my part, and I accept the punishment, but I would really like my legal human rights, my legal rights. Man goes to prison, he loses his freedom, but he doesn't lose his human rights. That's not legal. That's.
Well, Billy, when you make yourself such a needed service there at the prison, if they're using you for this and if they're relying on you for all these things, then what motivation do they have to let you go?
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's true. They're never going to let you out of there because you're doing the work of the cops.
Right.
I'm doing the work of Jesus. I'm doing Jesus' work. But I mean, they're sitting in the office smoking a cigarette, not doing anything, and I'm out here trying to keep people from killing one another. And so I mean, and that's partly true what you said. But I also believe that if you follow the Lord, that sooner or later, I mean, maybe this show is the answer. Maybe this is the drop in the bucket that fills, that moves the balance. And so glory to God, man. I think that we keep on doing what Jesus wants us to do, and sooner or later things have to turn out well.
Well, Billy, if I could encourage you, my own life, and I was facing 15 years, and I had an absolute miracle, man, that got me out of it. There's no doubt in my mind it was a miracle. Even the lawyer representing me, when the judge let me out of there, we ran to the elevator, man. We hit that elevator button. We thought they were going to change their minds and chase us down. Okay. And then, no joke, man. And then a week later, when I was in church, the lawyer showed up at the church. So guys who I smuggled with, man, everyone around me got saved. You and your household, my whole family got saved. The guys who smuggled with me, it's a great story. And so man, I want to encourage you, man. There is hope. I can only imagine the conditions you're in there right now. Like, what's the temperature you're in there right now in this prison? Like,
it's about 82 or 83 degrees. We're right here. It's 7 o'clock at night. It's dark. Here, the sun goes up and comes down at 6 o'clock every day because I'm so close to the equator that there's no change. Summer to winter, there's no change. In the daytime, it's 95 degrees, something like that, and then every night the coolest it gets is about 82. I'm laying without a shirt right now in a pair of boxer briefs in front of a fan as I speak to you guys. A running fan. That's funny too. The fan is connected by a live naked wire, a naked live electric wire that I have stuck through the door up to the light outside, and I have electricity. When the lights come on inside the cell, there's no electricity, but I've robbed the light out of the lamp that's in front of the cell here, just to be able to charge a phone and use have a fan at night to be able to sleep. Because it's so hot you can't sleep at night without it. And I drink 6 quarts of water a day just to stay hydrated. I mean, I'm in the jungle, man.
Well, Billy, I'm no electrician, man, but what happens when it rains? You got that live wire going out your window there. What happens then?
The light is inside. The light is inside. My door opens to the inside. I mean, it's not outside. The door doesn't open to the outside.
Oh, gotcha.
Inside the patio.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And there's a light underneath the second floor walk. I'm on the first floor. Underneath the second floor walk, there's a light right outside my window. So I took apart an old radio and got the windings, the little copper windings out, and ran that little copper winding through the door and through a straw that I've got stuck in the door with bubble gum, so that it won't make connection, and then stuck to the wall with soap all the way down to where the fan is, and then the fan pulls the ground wire off of the door. So I'm crazy, man. Stuff that you learn in prison that you just have to figure out.
Yeah,
so, the fan sure makes life living.
I can imagine. Yeah, I've spoken to so many people in prison here, or just out of prison, all kinds of people here in the States, and you complain about the conditions here in the States, like just in the expenses of commissary. I know, right? And making phone calls and
take me home. It'd be like being free. To me, it would be like being free. To go to prison in this thing. And so maybe one day something like that will happen. Or I believe in miracles, man. I also believe in miracles. I have this huge testimony for Jesus. I want to give it to the world. I don't want to just give it in prison. I want to give it to the world, man. And so,
What about in your ministry, in your ministry there in the prisons? Have you seen miracles? Have you seen miraculous healing and stuff like that?
I'll tell you something that happened to me the other day. I was very ill, as I told you, very ill, and was really upset, and I was praying, and I asked God. I said, hey, I don't know what, if I'm going to die here, just go ahead and let me die, God, because I know I'll be on the other side with you, but I don't understand why you're allowing these terrible trials to happen. I'm doing what you want, and I ask constantly, is there something you want to take out of my life? And there's nothing. You're content with what I'm doing, so I don't understand why I'm having to face this. I think about Paul and his in his unknown affliction, in the Bible, and I'm thinking is it necessary that I must be so terribly unwell? And I slept, and in the night I had a vision. It wasn't a dream. It was it was like being awake, and a man in the vision told me, "You're not sick. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not sick, and you're going to be okay." And then the next day, they took me to the doctor's office because I thought I had a heart attack. They took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, you got high cholesterol. It'll be all right." And since that time, things have been better. And that's just one instance, but a miracle. A lot of miracles have happened in the fact that, like, the murders are.
Oh, did I lose you? Uh-oh, I hope that wire didn't get him. Oh, okay, I think you're back. Are you there? Yeah, call back. And maybe he'll just call back. And let me see if I can put the phone here on. It's rough. Okay, well, we lost Bill Prophet, Billy Prophet. You can find him on Facebook once again at Friends of Brother Bill. These aren't the best conditions he's calling us under here. Like I said, he's calling us on a contraband cell phone, sitting in this prison in Panama, La Nueva Hoya prison. I don't know what to do for our friend there. Just pray for him. We can pray for him is all we can really do. His book is called Long Live the King, Wild Bill, and it's William Holbert. You can find him on Facebook, Friends of Brother Bill. The guy's got some adventure ahead of him there. You can just imagine the conditions in that prison, the food and the violence, the filth. You can just imagine the filth they're living in down there compared to how bad the prisons are here in the United States. And if he could just laugh it off and say, oh, my God, I wish I'd be here, you could just imagine. God has had mercy on me. I was facing 15 years in a maximum security prison. I would have did 85% of the time as a federal charge. I was released on that, let go. Basically, I had to do probation, stuff like that. But an absolute miracle. My attorney actually returned the bail money, okay? That we had put some bail money through the attorney's account. And when they released me, he returned that money, which is unheard of. Unheard of, the miracle that happened in my life. So hopefully we can see the same kind of miraculous healing and deliverance of our friend there, Bill, and all the others down there struggling under these conditions in this situation. Hopefully we can get them out of there, or at least under tolerable conditions. And I know so many people will say, I see it all the time, you'll see the comments on YouTube, the YouTube comments. Oh, Ed, why should we care? They're criminals. They're criminals. Who cares? But, these are our fellow human beings, and we do need to care. We do need to care because it's just human rights and human basic human rights, like the most basic human rights. So I got Bill here. He's texting me. He's able to text, but the phone died out. He's not able to use the phone right now, so we won't be able to continue this call. We will be staying in touch with Bill in the future. Like I said, you could find him once again at Billy Prophet, Friends of Brother Bill, William Halbert, and his book is called Long Live the King, Wild Bill. For me, and I had to rush through the intro and stuff like that because we knew we were running out of time. We only had a certain amount of time for a live cell phone there before the battery would run out. Maybe you could plug it into that wire, that live wire going into the light bulb there while we're live on the air. But I wouldn't want to get electrocuted as we're talking as well. Wouldn't want to take a chance on that. So for me, if you want to keep the show on the air, you want to support the show, it's Patreon. That's how we're doing it nowadays, Patreon. You go to Opperman Report Patreon. As I was telling you last night on the live show when I did a show called Certificate of Authenticity, all about the Lauren Boebert revelations came out with the American Muckrakers pack. Much content up on Patreon. We have the show there with Hank Harrison, where he reveals pretty much exclusively, because he's where Courtney Love went to Ireland as a teenager. She had all this LSD. She was up there with a 35-year-old CIA agent. We had all this information. The show I did with Richard Hoagland about 2015. What's that, 7 years ago? Well, I revealed to him that day, I says, hey, I'm working on a case that's going to be in the history books. And wouldn't you know it, I was talking about the Jeffrey Epstein case. We released that show on Patreon the same day that Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison. So there's a ton of content on Patreon where you can go there. You sign up. There's like a $3 level, 10 cents a day, where you can get all the shows you hear Monday to Friday, AM, FM radio, plus some more, ad-free with the commercials cut out. Okay, you have that. Then you have the higher sections, all the old stuff from the old members section at OppermanReport.com. All those shows are up there in the special archives. All those shows go up there ad-free. And then we have additional shows that go up, exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. And then there's free stuff. There's a lot of free content that I put up there as well. We have information up there about the chain of custody of the Hunter Biden laptop that is exclusive to the world, okay? We have information about the Hunter Biden laptop chain of custody that no one on the planet has, that even Hunter Biden's own attorney are unaware of. They're up until right now. I'm working on that, trust me. Okay. So once again, thank you so much. He's sitting in there, that Panamanian prison. Billy Prophet, friends of Brother Bill, William Halbert, hitman, former hitman, now he's a man of God, sitting there in prison. Long live the king, Wild Bill. Thank you so much, Bill. I hope you're doing well over there. We got some text messages, so I know he's still alive. They didn't get to him yet. And I hope that the show doesn't do any harm to him. I hope that we can rally some support to him. So God bless you, brother. Good night.